I'm late, guys. Alright, so is everyone ready to get critiquing?
Yeah.
Alright, so today we're going to be talking about 4 movies. It's really, what do we want to choose them to produce? The filmers have put together these trailers for us, and we're going to watch them and critique them and see how they are. So, first up we have the Napoleonic Code, so hit it.
Pretty good. I think it showed that you couldn't buy your positions and that you actually, Napoleon stopped this, and he said that you actually had to gain your position through actual work and you couldn't use your money or your wealth to influence that. I think also people became happier because they saw it more as a equal society among people.
I think a weakness, though, is that it completely ignored the fact that the Napoleonic Code abolished feudalism, and it also didn't mention partage at all, the equal distribution of inheritance throughout all of the male heirs.
True, but at the same time, it did sort of show how it unified France and made everyone equal, and also showed how land was equally distributed rather than given out in different ways.
Well, other than the fact that it needs a new title, it didn't talk about women or minorities at all. It didn't show that they had absolutely no rights, really, and that they really didn't gain anything from this code. Also, it didn't show that there was no uniformity of the legal system, and it didn't show how Napoleon created this. It didn't show the before and it didn't show the after, really. It just showed this happened. And also, it didn't show the equal taxation and equal legal system, which was created, the due process rights, which people now had.
Well, I think overall it was very creative. I mean, you have an animal as Napoleon, which I think is very, very well thought out.
It is adorable.
Kids
People
always
do
love
like
the
cats.
animals.
Yeah, it's a good kid film. You can really get the children to come to this.
It's very true.
Alright, well, keep all this in mind, and the next clip we're going to watch is from the Concord.
France is Catholic! France is Catholic.
Alright guys, how do you think that was?
I thought it was good. I thought that it shows how the Pope recognizes the Republic of France and how now Napoleon and the Pope have a good relationship because he crowned him as emperor. And I think that was really good.
Yep. The line "France is Catholic" really, it
really resonates with you.
Yeah.
It stays with you.
Yeah.
I think, though, a major flaw was that it didn't show that he was tolerant of other religions as well as Catholicism.
True.
Which was important in uniting France as well.
True.
It also didn't mention that the clergy is a part of the state.
Yeah.
And that was very important.
It's true.
And they were paid by the state too.
Exactly.
Once again, the lack of creativity with the title, always a minor problem. But it also did talk about tithes and how the church now could not tax the people. And also it didn't talk about how France got to keep the church lands, which it had acquired earlier on.
Yeah. That's it. Much like Napoleon in that clip. Let's move on to the next one. It's the Emperor's Economy.
There's something wrong with this assignon. No!
Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept. Yes.
Wait! We shall have a bank. And the money. It is open.
Alright, well that was decent. I think it did a good job of showing how they took the assignat and it really wasn't really working, so they changed to the franc, and that whole system of the franc de germinal.
I think you could have emphasized that there was a crisis in the economy before that more, and also perhaps mentioned the crisis in the economy afterwards as well.
Yes, but it showed the tax collectors were no longer corrupt because they had tax collectors actually had to couldn't keep the money for themselves. The government actually Napoleon ended up coming in and took the money for the state, so the state had more money and became rich from
Yeah.
the system. So,
But it didn't really talk about how people like lords were no longer exempt from taxes, which is kind of really important.
And I also didn't mention that the taxes were now direct taxes.
but it did mention the Bank of France and how it became a really vital and important part of society, which is still alive today. So I think that it was a very influential part of just the French economy, and it's still here now. So,
I think our last clip is going to be from the documentary. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's about 2 kids, so let's check it out. I'm a middle-class boy, and thanks to Napoleon, now I can get a good elementary education.
I'm a poor boy, but I can get an elementary education as well.
Thank God Napoleon came along.
Now we can learn about math, science, and history.
We're almost done with our elementary education. I can't wait to go to lycée.
Neither can I.
No! No school for you! No! You no go!
Look where I am now.
Okay. That was certainly interesting. I think it did a really good job of showing how both poor and upper middle class people could go to elementary school, get an elementary education, but at the same time, the poor people could not go to the lycée part of the education.
A problem with it, though, is that it doesn't talk about the new university that Napoleon created, which the notables could go to and learn about the army and get a leg up, I guess, for their future careers.
Which was called the
Polytechnic.
Mhm.
Yes, but it showed that there was a lycée system and that people could receive, you know, 2 types of education. And there's education for all citizens, not just the middle class and the wealthy and the nobility. And it also, when the boy says that Napoleon is like, he's lucky for Napoleon, it shows that he's like, the people love him and that they were taught to love him by their teachers.
And I think that, well, although one issue is that, well, it mentions the impacts of the Imperial University by showing that the curriculum was now standardized, math, history, science. It doesn't mention the Imperial University at all. So.
Alright, well.